Hello, this is Strategy Miscellany. This is another episode of Terra Invicta. It is April of 2038, and all of a sudden, after kind of a lull, a lot of things are happening. We've got aliens landing. Um, we've got them all over Central Europe, and also in Spain, and also in Uruguay. Now, the problem is they seem to be being chased off by revolts about as fast as they show up, unfortunately, before I even get a chance to stabilize them. So we'll see how that goes. If they can carve out a little state, that will make our job a little bit easier when we give over all our territory to them. We are consolidating Southeast Asia right now. At some point, Vietnam will need to be annexed into China. That should happen in May. Uh, Indonesia will be absorbed into Malaysia at the end of April. Sri Lanka, I'm still having difficulties with for some reason, but we'll figure it out. Nigeria's remaining claims we'll be pushing towards now. And then the other thing we're doing is I've been selling a lot of my surplus bulk metals, for example, and using a lot of that to do direct investment into Tanzania so that they can build an army and actually start declaring war on their neighbors, which will allow them to, I mean, they won't have to do much of the fighting themselves. They'll send over the US or China or someone, and they can start building the East African Federation by force. And so that's the plan there, because with two African superstates, plus what I've got, I should have enough to hand over to the aliens and get them over the population standard that they need. That's the hope, anyway. If not, we'll start looking for other possible large countries. I mean, Brazil's another decently sized place we could take, or we could start trying to take the European Union, or the rump of it that's left, anyway. So, yeah, meanwhile, I did sort of an audit of our counselors, upgraded them quite a bit with their experience points. Um, I've got two of my ships are returning back from the belt, my raiding ships. My third one is about to reach its target in a few weeks. And yeah, I am going to go back to quarterly reports because so much is happening with the aliens. But I will report back to you in July unless something real dramatic happens before then. So it is end of July, beginning of August. The alien administration has gotten into a bit of a cycle of revolt and reconquest of the same places, mostly Israel and Western Ukraine. They're trying to invade Brazil right now, and we'll see how that goes. That could give them an actual significant base of power if they can hold on to it. The problem is that whenever they invade a country that has a democratic tradition, people don't like suddenly being ruled by an alien dictatorship, and they rise up against them. Probably public opinion should have some role in that, but it doesn't seem to have much of one, if any. This is also to some extent true when I hand over countries, so that won't be a problem for China or Eurasia or the African states, but it will be a problem for India, and if I have to hand them the US, it will be a problem. So we'll see what happens there. I'm still building my super states. China is conquering Mongolia and will absorb the United Malay Nation fairly soon. Well, that's not correct. I want to put a lot of priority on unity. Because otherwise you can have breakaway states happen if your unity's too low when you get annexed. So we might even have to do some direct investment into their unity. Let's do that. Not great, but it's better than nothing. So, meanwhile, the East African Federation has grown to 300 million. Once we take the DRC and its two pieces, think I have claims on both pieces. Yeah, I do. So once I take the DRC, then this should be at like 400 million, which puts our African states together at a billion. So yeah, we might still be a little bit short. I think our next step might be we have to do the same thing over again with Angola's claims. So unfortunately, as I was recording the last bits of this, the sound messed up. And I couldn't get any sound, so it didn't have any of the parts where I actually described what was going on. And so I had to load from this autosave here in January, where we are very close to victory. We have handed over to the aliens. You know, last time I talked to you was August, and basically shortly after that, the aliens successfully conquered Brazil, and not too long after that, they successfully conquered Egypt. And at that point, I figured, you know what, they've got enough of a power base. It's time to start handing them territory and seeing what happens. And so I put pretty much everybody on, you know, lowering stability or raising stability in the alien nation and started handing them places. Handed them the Malayan states, handed them the Nigerian complex, the Greater West Africa bloc, handed them India, handed them China, handed them Eurasia. And with that, we are very close to victory. Let me go back here and demonstrate. Yeah, they have 59% of the world's population. And I think if I give them East Africa, that will be enough to put them over the edge. So that's the plan, is the next step is give them East Africa. I'm just trying to see if I missed anywhere that I have. Now, they are going to conquer Australia, and that's going to jack up their unrest. So we do have to be pretty careful here to lower their unrest. And if East Africa isn't enough to put them over the edge, we'll have to give them the US, which again we'll have to be careful about. But that's the plan. So I will put everybody onto assignments here. And basically, unless they're really good at it, it's pretty hard for them to stabilize the alien nation just because it's so big. You can see Jody here, I have to give a lot of ops investment to give her a good shot. Somebody like Young Biao here, though, he already starts at a base 88%. So these kind of heavy hitter guys, Yang Biao and Shu Yao. Unless I need Shu Yao to build an alien facility. No, that's what he was doing last turn, so we can hand over the East African Federation. So he can help stabilize the alien administration. He starts at a base 59. But then the other three, their command stats are just so low. I mean, Noelle here might have a chance. I'll see what it looks like. Well, 2%, and if I fully invest in her, she gives 28%. So, sure, she can try. The other two, though, they just don't have the stats for it. So they're going to hand over, or they're going to stabilize the East African Federation. Standing by for orders. And that's my plan for this turn, is to give the aliens a shot of stability. And then next turn, we'll hand over East Africa. And then the turn after that, we'll either hand them the US if necessary, or we'll go to Washington, D.C., or New York City to the United Nations and herald our masters and win the game. So, we'll see what happens this turn. So I just realized I actually have two states to give the aliens here. First off, we'll hand them East Africa, but then we also need to hand them the Eurasian Union. I had forgotten about that one. The purple is so similar on the map I hadn't noticed at first. But yeah, the aliens, their state almost blew up when they conquered Australia. Borneo seceded, but that's only 28 million people, so it's not that important. So as such, we continue with the plan, and we'll just have to take an extra turn. So the nice thing is, just after we discovered exotic materials, we have actually gotten support from the aliens. They've given us some exotic materials, and we can actually sell some of those here to gain a lot of money real fast. So put some alien materials on the black market, and I'm going to try and use that to do direct investment in the alien administration to make it more stable. So you see, I can just, throw a bunch of money into Unity here. And make the alien administration slightly more unified and the aliens slightly more popular in it. So I handed the aliens Eurasia. Well, I wasn't looking. They conquered France, or sort of the rump EU, which was basically just France. And so, if I look at the chart here, they now control 68% of the world's population, of the required 65%. Their fleet power, plus to a much lesser extent ours and the Protectorate's, is much stronger than any of our enemies. And so, it is time. Jody Justiniano, who is the only counselor who I started with, who has been with us the whole time. She was present at the creation when we were just a little organization with a dream. And here we are. So now, it's time to send her to the UN to herald our masters. The day of glory is at hand. Let's go. No need for other assignments. And with that, we are victorious. The rest of the world's countries surrender to the alien administration. Unity is achieved.
Sisters and brothers, we have achieved harmony. Drowning in believers with one voice, we find ourselves renewed, refocused, and reborn. Some will resist the dawning age of Nirvana, but in the end, all will embrace salvation.
And with that, the game is over and we've won. If I was playing as the Resistance or Humanity First, or I think the Academy, there's a way where you can win even after the servants have won. You can, if you have a strong enough space force, you can actually take back Earth. In this game, I think that would basically be impossible for the AI, given that their space economies are pretty weak. But it is something to try for a real kind of hard mode achievement for sure. And yeah, we've done it. Humanity is part of the Hydra Empire, and if our plan is correct, we will we will add our distinctiveness to theirs and eventually change them as much as they change us and become an integral part of a new galactic society. Whether that happens or not, well, that's kind of up to you. But that's what our glorious leader believes anyway. So, we did it. Now, I will admit, the servants are probably the easiest faction to win the game as. Because, of course, you have a whole bunch of help from the aliens. If I had been playing as the Resistance, if I had won, it would have taken me a lot longer. I may have to try at another faction. I don't know if I'll put it on the channel because it would just take so long. I'm definitely going to do some more Children of a Dead Earth, maybe some Kerbal Space Program and Rule the Waves content first. Maybe even some Victoria 3 content. We'll have to look into that. But, yeah, thank you all for watching. Yeah, it's definitely an entertaining and interesting game. It's definitely unique. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to show off too much more space combat. That would be a reason to do a game as the Resistance or similar. But yeah, it's definitely a unique experience. If you're interested in this sort of thing and have the time for it, I would definitely recommend it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.